We have a ton of news about the fourth stimulus check and Social Security benefits, SSI, SSDI. I put a ton of information in this video, and I put a ton of work into this video as well. I just want to let you guys know that I always do my very best in providing you with the most up-to-date and reliable stimulus check information, so continue watching. And also, if you want to claim this Amazon gift card for 60 bucks, it's a free Amazon gift card worth $60. All you have to do is subscribe and watch this video to the end, because I'm going to show you guys and enter the code to redeem the free $60 on Amazon. So folks, continue watching the video. Right now, support is growing for more and more stimulus checks. We do know that, according to surveys, 60% of people want Congress to send out inflation relief checks. This is also known as stimulus payments. It was just about 20 states, the ones that chose to approve this sort of payment in 2022, and many cities that decided to send out more relief as well. The stimulus check might be on its way for people who are still waiting, or people who are waiting for their possession in the near future. For instance, taxpayers in states like Idaho and California have received stimulus checks. The amount that they may receive is 600 bucks. Or who filed jointly, you get 300 bucks as well. The next state is to pay stimulus checks is Indiana, but it was going to be done in different ways. The state has two different tax refunds. You could be either eligible for one or two of them. If you meet the requirements, you just get both of the payments that you've already received in the check. First stimulus check could be of $125, while the second one is higher. It could be another 200 bucks. And according to officials, if you qualified for the $200 payment, you just have to request it when you file your taxes. The most eligible recipients have received their state relief payments already. It includes states like Massachusetts, since the last payments were due in mid-December. Taxpayers in Rhode Island who had an extension also had a deadline to receive their checks in December. So you have to be sure to continue watching because we have more information on this. Right now, Democrats are about to hand over the House of Representatives to Republicans. So what this means is that stimulus payments are probably going to come in 2023. At least that's what I believe, and it's what multiple sources are saying. Because, for those of you on Social Security, the landscape of U.S. benefits at both the federal and state levels have completely changed. California already sent out $1,000 stimulus payments, and most payments have already been distributed. But the state estimates that about 5% of checks won't go out until January 15th. Rebate amounts at $350 are also based on a combination of income. Right now, sources say that with a deadline of a tax return closing, people in states like Maine are getting another $850 inflation relief check. It's very important to get this much needed stimulus money, and I do support that President Biden should be doing more for the American people and sending out stimulus checks. It's definitely necessary. If you guys agree, then tell me in the comments, because we have a ton of news about the fourth stimulus check and Social Security benefits. Also, if you want to claim this free $60 Amazon gift card, then continue watching. Because first of all, when President Biden did sign the American Rescue Law, it entitled most Americans to receive a $1,400 check. The money has made a huge impact. That's why economists and lawmakers support another relief. Because right now, there are millions that are still waiting their tax refunds from the IRS. There's a silver lining, however. The money may be accruing interest, and rates are poised to jump this month again. According to the IRS website, the agency generally pays interest on refunds that are delayed by more than 45 days after the filing deadline. Interest rates are adjusted every quarter, depending on the federal short-term rate, and the current interest rate is 6%. It's slated, though, to increase 7% on January 1st. By comparison, a year ago, the interest rate stood at 3%. And as of mid-November, the IRS had to process a lot of returns. So, there's a downside to this. Basically, the heap of unprocessed returns stem from the crisis-related disruptions and worker shortage, and the task of administering million stimulus checks is causing stimulus to be declining. And according to Gas Buddy, a brace for a spike in U.S. gas price is actually next year due to the refinery disruptions, and because of renewed energy demand from China as the nation reopens the economy. The national average price of gas at the pump could be $4 a gallon in most major cities as next year. Gas Buddy has even said that cities in the West Coast could see prices as near as $7 a gallon in the summer of 2023. So basically, curveballs are coming from every direction. And I don't think we've ever seen such an amount of volatility as we saw in 2022. And that's why a trend like this...
Pretty strange and curious day. And it's my understanding, at least from the reports that I've read, that Kevin McCarthy sent you out to try and negotiate with some of those 20 holdouts to see what kind of progress might be made. I don't believe there was any deal reached last night, but what did you hear from the 20 holdouts, and do you see a path to try and find something to bring them back into the fold?
Well, Happy New Year. It's great to be with you this morning. Look, Kevin McCarthy for the last few weeks has been listening to every member of our conference to try to find the path for 218 votes to elect him the next Speaker of the House. And I think those issues that we're still listening to, Becky, are in basically three categories. First, the rules package that there's been a lot of press coverage about. How Kevin McCarthy has listened and changed both the House Republican conference rules and the House of Representatives proposed rule package that opens up the process, makes sure that members have their voices heard on the floor, that decentralizes power that had been so centralized.
Curse, and we were able to win negotiations. Sean Bishop and the Finance Committee Health Team took on Big Pharma. Anna Kaltenbeck, these two in particular, showed that people, the seniors and consumers all over the country, can beat the biggest lobbies in the country, and none of them are bigger than Big Pharma. We made other important changes. Protection in Medicare Part D, a $2,000 annual out-of-pocket cap on medications and price gouging. Raghav Agarwal made a huge difference there. And by the way, Mr.
Now, if you guys agree that President Biden has to do something for the American people and send out stimulus checks faster, then tell me in the comments below. With the U.S. began to shut down in the wake of the onset of the crisis, it meant that millions of families were suddenly without the income they needed. Well, now, some lawmakers suggest that this new round of relief payments should go out to a more targeted group of people. This means that some people may be left out as well. Within weeks, Congress passed a massive emergency and spending package aimed at providing relief, and that legislation were economic impact payment checks, amounting to up to $1,200 per adult. There have been a total of 3 rounds of stimulus, including additional payments of up to $600 and $1,400 per person in 2021. These are referred to as stimulus checks by many Americans. So while the government had deployed stimulus checks before, particularly in the wake of the crisis, the size and scope of the direct checks was in many ways a new experiment. A senior fellow at the Urban Bookings Tax Policy Center told CNBC that 3 of them together were massively bigger than what the government had done before. With each stimulus check, the IRS and the Treasury became faster and more efficient at sending out money. In the initial weeks of the first stimulus check program in 2020, the IRS deployed around 90 million payments. When a third stimulus check was approved by Congress on March 11th, the IRS announced on March 17th it had already dispersed about 90 million payments. Now, there were glitches along the way, with the IRS experiencing them and sending out stimulus checks. Experts say the money could have been more targeted, as some well-to-do taxpayers who were already unaffected should have not received the money. About 90% of the taxpayers received money regardless of whether they were experiencing hardship. The third round of payments phased out more quickly in an effort to limit how much people with higher incomes were receiving these checks. As the payments were deployed, there was a drop in the number of households actually spending them. While the first checks were mostly devoted to household spending, the later checks were more typically used for saving or paying down debt, a trend seen among many income levels. Leaders bargained down to $600 per person for the second round, which led to another legislative package, with $1,400 payments to top those off after Biden was elected. Those last checks happened just as the economy was about to improve, and Bernie